You're sitting across from her at dinner, phone face down, eye contact. You've been together long enough that the novelty is worn off, but not long enough that you've stopped caring. You open your mouth to say something, and nothing comes out. Not because you have nothing to say, but because somewhere in the last few months, talking started feeling like work, and you catch yourself wondering, when did this become so hard? Your brain starts running. Why does this keep happening? Is this just what long-term relationships feel like? Did I pick the wrong person? Am I the problem? Here's the thing nobody tells you. The relationship didn't get harder because your love faded. It got harder because your safety did. You heard that right. And I know what you're thinking. But I'm a good guy. I provide. I don't cheat. I show up. And I'm not questioning any of that. But here's what most guys miss entirely. Women don't obsess over perfect. They obsess over felt. They obsess over what they feel when they're around you, not what you do for them, but what your presence actually does to their nervous system. You're not failing at love. You're just missing the part nobody taught you. But today, I'm going to teach you exactly what creates that deep, magnetic, obsessive level of attraction, the kind that makes her choose you over and over again without even thinking about it. Let's get into it. Before we get into the tactics, let me reframe something that will change how you see every interaction from here on out. Most guys think attraction is about looks, money, status, external things. That's what dating culture has sold you. But here's what the research actually shows, and what every woman who's ever been in a long-term relationship will confirm. A woman becomes obsessed with a man not when he's the most impressive person in the room. She becomes obsessed when she feels emotionally safe with him in a way she hasn't felt with anyone else. Let me say that again. Safety. Not security, safety. The difference is huge. Security is about protection. Safety is about what it feels like to be close to you. Does your nervous system feel calm or chaotic around you? When she's vulnerable with you, does she feel met or dismissed? When she has a hard day and comes to you, does something in her chest ease, or does she brace for something else? Because here's the truth. Your woman's nervous system is reading you before her mind can catch up. She doesn't decide to be attracted to you. She feels it in her body first. And when safety leaves a relationship, the attraction doesn't disappear. It goes underground. She stays. She loves you, but the spark goes quiet. Not because she stopped feeling it, but because her nervous system decided it wasn't safe to feel it anymore. That's the shift nobody talks about. So what we're doing today isn't about becoming more impressive. It's about becoming the kind of man whose presence makes a woman's nervous system feel like it can finally relax. That's the foundation. Everything else builds on top of it. Point 1. Make her feel heard before she asks. Most couples have a pattern here. She brings something up, something that's been bothering her, and immediately your brain goes into problem-solving mode. What does she need? How do I fix this? What's the solution? So you start offering solutions, advice, a plan, 3 different ways to handle it. And she's sitting there thinking, I just wanted him to hear me. Most people in relationships do this, not because they don't care, but because most guys were taught that being helpful is the same as being present. They're not the same thing. Here's the deeper truth. What she needs isn't a contractor. It's a witness. She needs to feel like someone sees the weight she's carrying, not to fix it, but to just be there with her in it. When you're in problem-solving mode, your nervous system isn't in the room with her. It's 3 steps ahead, building something. She feels that, even if you don't say it out loud. Her brain is quietly registering, he doesn't actually see what this is doing to me. But when you slow down, when you actually stay in the moment and reflect back what she's saying, something shifts. Example, disconnecting version. She says, work has been really stressful lately. You say, have you tried talking to your manager about it? Or maybe you should set better boundaries. Connecting version. She says, work has been really stressful lately. You say, that sounds like it's been weighing on you. Do you want to vent, or do you want me to just listen? See the difference? One is trying to fix, one is being with. And when you do that, the walls between you start to come down without either of you having to say a word. Point 2. Lead with emotional curiosity, not emotional judgment. Here's the part no one talks about. Most guys, when they encounter a woman who's emotional, crying, frustrated, upset, their instinct is to solve the emotion. Don't cry. It's not that big of a deal. What are you so upset about? They're trying to make the bad feeling go away. But what they're actually doing is telling her that her feelings are a problem to be solved rather than an experience to be understood. Most couples don't realize how often they do this. It's subtle, it's quick, but she feels it every time. Here's what changes everything. When a woman feels that you can be curious about her emotions, not overwhelmed by them, not annoyed by them, not threatened by them, but curious, something deep in her attachment system says, this is safe. I can bring all of me here. And here's the psychological reality. A woman's attachment system is activated not by how perfect you are, but by how steady you remain when she's not perfect. When she's dysregulated and you stay calm, not cold, not dismissive, but calm and present, her nervous system starts to recalibrate around you. You become the anchor. That's what creates obsession. Not chemistry, not attraction in the superficial sense, the real thing. Example, disconnecting version. She gets quiet after dinner. You notice. You say, "What's wrong now?" with that tone, like you're bracing for impact. Connecting version. She gets quiet after dinner. You notice. You say, "Hey, I see you went somewhere. I'm not trying to push, but I'm here when you're ready." One makes her feel like her feelings are a burden. One makes her feel like her feelings are welcome. And here's what nobody explains. When she feels that you can hold her emotions without losing yourself, she doesn't just feel loved, she feels known. And being known by someone is one of the most addictive experiences a human being can have. Point 3. Create space, then come back. This is the one most couples never figure out. Here's the pattern. You get close, you connect. It feels amazing. And then, one of you pulls back. You get busy, you go quiet, you pull away slightly. And the other person panics. They chase, they reach out more. They ask what's wrong. They send more texts. They try to pull the connection back by force. And the more they chase, the more the puller retreats. Not because they don't love them, but because the chasing creates pressure. And pressure makes the puller feel claustrophobic. This is the anxious avoidance cycle. And almost every couple that's been together longer than a year is living in it, even if they've never heard the term. But here's what most people miss. The puller isn't pulling away because they've lost interest. They're pulling away because they need to feel like they can pull away. Like the relationship is safe enough that they can take a breath and come back on their own. So what do? You give them the space. Without guilt, without pressure, without that passive-aggressive silence that says, "I'm available, but only if you want me." And then you come back. Not in 3 days, not in a week. You come back with warmth, with humor, with ease, like nothing happened, because to you, nothing did. Her brain is quietly registering. He's not going to collapse if I need a little air. And that safety, the felt safety of being with someone who can hold their own emotional world, is what makes her want to come back to you more than anyone else. That's the shift that turns a relationship that feels like a negotiation into one that feels like a refuge. Point 4. Be the person who stays curious. Not louder conversations, not more compromising, not scheduling a weekly check-in, but two people who stay genuinely curious about each other, even years into it. This is where most long-term relationships die. Not in big betrayals, in quiet erosion. In the moment one partner stops asking and assumes they already know. I know how she thinks. I know what she wants. We've been together long enough that I know her. And that certainty, that false certainty, is what creates the disconnection that feels so devastating, but so hard to name. Here's the deeper truth. Every human being is changing all the time. The person she was when you met her is not the person she is now. The fears she had then are different. The dreams she has now evolved. The things that make her feel safe today might not be the same ones from 3 years ago. When you stay curious, when you ask questions you've already asked before, when you follow up on things you think you know, when you approach her like someone you're still getting to know, you're telling her, "You are still a person I want to understand." And she feels something moving through her. I forgot how good it feels to be chosen, not for who I was, but for who I'm becoming. Most couples stop being curious because it feels safer to assume. But assumption is the enemy of intimacy. Curiosity is what keeps the door open. Point 5. Lead with presence, not plans. Here's the thing about attraction that no one tells you. It's not built in the big moments. It's built in the 30-second ones. When you come home from work and you're tired and she starts talking about her day, do you half listen while you scroll? Or do you put the phone down, look at her, and actually be in the room? When she sends you a text during the day and you see it but don't respond until hours later with a one-word reply, she feels that. Not as a big rejection, but as a small death of connection. And 100 small deaths are what erodes a relationship. This isn't about being available 24/7. It's about what your presence communicates when you are with her. When you're with her and you're actually with her, present, warm, in the moment, her nervous system reads it as, "He sees me, he's here." This is the person I want to go home to. When you're physically present, but emotionally somewhere else, checking out, planning, thinking about tomorrow, her nervous system registers the absence, even if nothing is said. The pattern is this. Most guys think presence means being in the same room, but real presence is being in the same room and in the same moment. That's a different thing entirely. And here's the paradox. When you show up with that kind of presence consistently, she doesn't need you to be there all the time because the quality of the time you give her is different. She trusts it, she feels it, and that trust is what creates the obsession. This isn't a communication hack. This is just what two emotionally mature people naturally do. Point 6. Let her feel needed without needing to be needed. This is the one that will change everything for you. Most guys think the way to make a woman obsessed is to make her feel like she can't live without you. So they try to be indispensable. They try to solve all her problems. They try to be the one she depends on for everything. But here's what happens. When you make yourself too needed, you become a resource, not a partner. And resources are replaceable. The real magnetic shift is this. You are a man who has a full, rich, meaningful life outside of her. You have your own purpose, your own circle, your own peace. And you choose to share that with her. Not because you need her to complete you, but because you genuinely want her in your world. When you operate from that space, from overflow, not from need, something changes in how she experiences you. She's not with you because she's afraid of being alone. She's with you because being with you adds something to her life that nothing else does. That's not dependency, that's genuine attraction. And that feeling, the feeling of being with someone who chose you from a place of wholeness, is what creates the obsession. Her brain is quietly registering. He doesn't need me to fill a hole. He just wants me in his life. And that's the thing that makes a woman think about you when you're not there. Not because she needs you, but because your presence in her life feels like an upgrade she doesn't want to lose. Point 7. Be the safe place she can land. Here's the deepest one. Every woman, even the most independent, even the most self-sufficient, is looking for one thing above everything else. And it's not money, it's not status, it's not even chemistry. She wants to know, when I'm a mess, will you stay? Not to fix her, not to save her, but to stay. When she comes home after a terrible day and she's falling apart and she doesn't have it together, that's the moment your whole character is revealed. Most guys at that moment try to minimize. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. It's not that bad. Because they're uncomfortable with her pain. And she feels that discomfort, and it tells her something she doesn't want to hear. When I'm not okay, this person doesn't know what to do with me. But a man who has done his own work, who has learned to be with discomfort, he stays. He sits with her in it. He doesn't try to make it better. He just lets her be a mess and makes it feel safe to be one. And here's what happens in that moment. Something in her is saying, he doesn't need me to be okay for him to stay. He just stays. That's the deepest form of safety. And it's what creates the kind of connection that no amount of chemistry, no amount of attraction in the superficial sense can replicate. This isn't a trick for avoiding conflict. This is what it looks like when someone has learned to love without losing themselves in the process, and loves you without asking you to be perfect for them. And when you do that for her, consistently, without needing credit, without making it a thing, she doesn't just love you, she can't imagine her life without you. Here's what I want you to take away from this. These aren't tips. They're not tactics to add to your toolbox and use when you need to. They're an invitation to become the kind of man whose presence changes the emotional temperature of every room he walks into. Not by trying harder, not by doing more, but by being someone who has learned to stay curious, stay calm, stay present, and stay, especially when it's hard. When you internalize this, you stop performing and start being. And your partner will feel the difference before you've even said a word. This isn't about making someone obsessed with you. It's about becoming someone who is worth being obsessed over. Not because of what you do, but because of who you are in the moments that matter most.